Hey, this is Sharon Raji Maynard, and this is my new podcast, Gazelles and the Phoenix. So why gazelles and the phoenix? Well, there's an old quote that says, I'm going to stop focusing on the dinosaurs. Just let them die. Instead, I'm going to focus on the gazelles. Gazelles are those individual projects and organizations and individuals that are rising up out of the ashes, even before the dinosaurs are gone. So I have had the wonderful experience of meeting a lot of gazelles, being in company of those who are holding space as the phoenix rise from the ashes. So this podcast will be episodes to share with you those individuals, those groups, those ideas. Some of them will come from monthly meetings that are sponsored by the patrons of my other podcast, A Mystic's View. If you're interested in becoming part of that supportive community, go over to patreon.com/A Mystic's View. And there you can get details. We're a growing community. We're committed to a collaborative mindset, and it's a joyful experience. So thank you for those patrons that enable me to do this podcast. And I'm excited to share with you gazelles that are rising up like phoenixes from the ashes. Welcome. My name is Sharon Raji Maynard, and this particular conversation is under a bigger umbrella called Deep Roots. And Deep Roots, we have conversations every month with women in different parts of the world. That's all sponsored by those who are patrons on a platform called Patreon. So they enable me to have the time and the money to do these kinds of events. And the whole purpose with this conversation is to honor that there's information that women have from their experience, from what they've gone through, that adds value to all of us. And by hearing each other, we can hold each other differently. The roots, then, we're like trees, and our roots now into the earth, we're not just a lone tree anymore. We are now a group of trees. And we may not see our roots all the time, but they are connected, deepened, and each of us are stronger because of that. It was probably, many years ago when I started working with women, and I was led to understand how women in the way distant past in our villages often felt so threatened that we had to silence our voices. We hid our gifts, and I saw them hide them in the trees, in the plants, in the stones, in the water, hoping that there would come a time in the future where we could go back into those forests, be with those elements in the forest so that we could bring the gifts back into us to use in our life today. And I really believe this is the time we're doing it, and this is the time that we need to bring our abilities, our skills, and our understanding back together. So that's the purpose of our monthly call. And our guest for today could be no better model. So as you know, Angelique is a ritualist, a shaman practitioner, and CircleKeeper. And over the years, she's studied and taught and always been open to the various teachings concerning inner development and sacred feminine. So you are, I'm sure, very aware of all of the art she creates, just intuitively led, using feathers and things from nature for healing, inner journeys, ceremony, and development. So I welcome you to our circle today, our deep roots. Welcome, Angelique. And here we are together.
Thank you, Sharon. It's really an honor to be with you. And I love to see all those beautiful faces.
I bet you do.
Yeah, I love to see you all. And yes, it's quite an honor to be here. And I like to share some things about my work and what brought me here, what brought me into this work, into this particular place.
Well, Angelique, I think we all have a beginning story, and often that beginning story is about pain. And we go like, our life is in some way painful for us. But what was it that began your journey to where you are today? Because it didn't begin today. What was that? How did that happen for you?
I first have to say that I always have been interested and very attracted to nature. Nature has always been my guardian, my angel, my place where I felt safe. I was brought up and I had not such a very safe childhood. And after getting married, it was even worse. So then when I got divorced, that is where my journey started, actually, because then I became very ill. And becoming ill to me is something that is just the healing part to start a new part of your life. And I became so ill that one of my kidneys didn't work anymore. And I had to retire in myself and find healing. And then I came to a Shamanic Practitioner in Amsterdam. And she was, somebody that I thought, this is what I know already. This is what she's doing. I know this. This is very familiar to me. So I started studying backwards. Let's say I retrieved the information I already knew and it's already in my bones. So that was what I'm doing. And then there was a day that I went to the beach and I had an intention to find a bird's wing because I needed that for my shamanic work. And this intention was very, very strong. And I went to the beach and I came there and immediately I saw this bird wing standing right up in the sand. I could just pick it up and singing home like, thank you, white buffalo cow woman. This is really beautiful what you brought to me. And it was such an amazing, like revealing something. And I immediately felt, this is my path. I have to be here. This is what I really love. And I love to be with nature, but nature is also responding to me. And that's what was very new for me because there was never anybody who responded to me. So I thought, this is beautiful, really, really beautiful. And then not so very long, a week later, I guess, I went to the beach again. I thought, I have to get this other wing too because a bird has two wings. So I'm going to get this other one. And when I came there, has been a real storm, really, really huge storm. And the whole place was covered with little bird wings, really tiny ones, like 10 centimeters, all over the place. And there were 24 of them. And I had picked them up like flowers, where you were picking like flowers. And it was like a dream, picking all those little wings and bringing them home. And just before I went home from the beach, I saw the other bird wing from the one I had got before, this week before. And then I went home and did ceremony for all these little wings and asking them, what is this? Why do I receive all these beautiful, birdie little wings? And what's the meaning of it? And then my inner guidance shared with me that it was important to give those little birds new life, because I got the image. They were caught in a storm in a fisherman's net, and the birds were gone, and the wings were by the water brought to the beach. So the intention was to create new birds, new wings, new feathers. And I started doing that, and in the beginning, it was very, very small work. What I did, very small, like just this one little, paintings. Very, what you say, not so very outgoing. It was very, very inward. And then after a couple of months, I became ill again. And I had to be operated in my tummy, in my womb, because I had a little tumor and it had to be removed. And during this operation, I got a near-death experience. And then it was said that I had to create large work and also had to honor my ancestral lineage with the work I'm doing. Because my lineage, my background, in the home where I live, I forgot to tell this, in the home where I live, many people have been hiding during the war, and Jewish people, and this is partly my background. So I saved these shutters. They were hiding on shutters on the upper floor, behind the wall, and I was looking behind this wall where nobody came ever, and I was curious. So I went looking, and I saw 6 of those big shutters and some magazines from the war where people had been hiding. So this was the message during this near-death experience. I had to honor my background, my Jewish background, and to create work on these shutters, which I did. So I created.
Can I stop just a minute? I want to point out something, Angelique. So here you are, a child. You'd grown up in in a difficult home situation, and yet you were drawn to the woods. You were drawn to nature. You felt that angel feeling in those spaces, and you said something very important that I want to point out here. You said you felt it in your bones. Mm-hmm. You felt it in your bones. And the reason I wanted to stop here is because often our true nature, our heritage, not just our physical heritage, but our spiritual heritage, is held within our bones, if you will, and we have don't know what that means sometimes. Mm-hmm. And we have to be willing to let ourselves dream awake, be guided through to bring it into reality. And then your steps with the wing, and then the wings, and then the shutters, was all about you not looking for an external voice, but listening to an internal voice.
Yes.
You felt it way early on in your bones.
Yeah.
I want to kind of emphasize that, so that those who are listening can say, "Oh, what have I felt in my bones? What have I had a feeling to be and to do and draw to, that I really am now, because I've heard Angelique's story, I'm going to pay attention to that inner quiet, what's in my bones." So now I'd love to hear your shudders. What happened then?
What happened then? I saved them for a couple of, I think, 2 years. They were just standing there and waiting for what wanted to be born out of me to create. because the way I work is always like a practice